Hello. Today I want to go and talk about my ambidextrous behavior. My name is Eric, and welcome to the craziness that lives inside my head.
Oh, never mind. We try, we love.
I didn't go into a rant. My cousin, Marv, went into a rant the other day. He ran into an ex-girlfriend, and he said they were talking about the old days. We're talking about the 50s. He's older than me. So he was talking about how she had such a bad childhood. She was raised by her aunt. And he went on a rant that she was telling him how when she was going to school, and he kept saying down here, I guess in the South, when she was going to school, they would beat her left hand with a ruler on her knuckles so she wouldn't write or use her left hand. They wanted her to learn how to write with her right hand. And he just went on and on and on. The South is this, they're crazy, blah, 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 blah. So I had to slow him down. I had to correct him. I said, well, Marv, when I was going to school, and I was in the 50s, in the first grade, when they started teaching you how to write, I said, they did the same thing to me. I don't know if I was left-handed or right-handed. That's how long ago it's been. But I remember my mother was trying to teach me to write, but she was left-handed. My dad is left-handed. So when I went to school to learn how to write, I just used whatever hand that was available and that I liked. And at that time, it was my left-handed. And I said to him, in the North, they did the same thing. I think the whole country back in the 50s was doing that, stopping kids from using their left hand to use their right hand to learn how to write with your right hand. It took some time, and just let him know that he's going on this rant. The South ain't this, the South ain't shit, the South, the South, the South. Well, they did the same thing in the North. If that's the case, the North ain't shit, you know? So, but what it brought to mind is, and I never thought about this much because basically I do use my right hand to write. There are occasions, and don't ask me when it pops up, where I might not want to use my right hand and I'll use my left hand to write maybe a word or a letter or whatever. And a lot of times, I remember when I had my first, it was 1998, my first brand new car, a Malibu 1998. It was so great. I thought it was fantastic because the cup holder was on the left side. And I can drink and drive. Drink and drive. That's how I drank. And I realized then, and now I'm going back, I use my left hand to drink. And of course I use my right hand to drive, so I could do both. I'm driving and drinking. Well, I'm drinking and driving. So I guess I'm what they call ambidextrous. But then I do have ambidextrous behavior. Because a lot of things I do, and I don't think about it, it just happens. Like I might use I remember when I got my knee replaced, it was my right knee that was bothering me. And I had a hard time using, it was a cane. And somebody said, well, you got to do it on I don't know what side you had to do it on. It felt better on my left side. I couldn't use anything on my right side. My right knee was bothering me, so I did everything on my left side. And I went upstairs using my left leg. I did everything almost did with my left side because maybe my right knee was bothering me. But now since I got my knee replaced, I do have a little problem going up the steps, and I find myself doing the same thing I was doing when my right knee was bothering me. Using my left leg, which is the one that's hurting me, going up the steps. I do everything on that left side. I lean on it. So anyway, I went to investigate ambidextrous. And it's an adjective, and of a person, as it says, able to use the right and left hands equally well. And And it also says that few of at least 1% of the population is naturally ambidextrous. Now, I don't know if I'm naturally ambidextrous. I mean, sometimes I find myself using my left hand. Like, if I'm tired using my right hand, I'll use my left hand. I mean, that's the only time I can think about when I start using my left hand. But my right hand get tired because I do so much with my right. I say, I'm going to use my left. Let my right hand, have a rest. So, but anyway, they did a study. I got to talk about this. It's very interesting. They did a study in the 2000s. Supposed to be a scientific study. So they showed that people who are ambidextrous, which is 1% of the population, is an imbalance coordination between the brain hemisphere. Then it says, number 2, most common in males than females. Oh, and listen to this. Being ambidextrous causes attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. I don't know about that one. I was just talking about it the other day to Marv, how I get distracted. I could be on one thing and I get distracted so quick. I be doing like 2 or 3 things at once and be thinking about, well, what was I doing the first time? And I didn't blame that on ADHD. I blamed that on my age because I'm getting older. It's because I'm getting older. I do not have ADHD. Thank you. Then they got this new word. I can't. I'm going to see if I can. I can't say it. And I had to go into Google and have Google say it for me. And the word is
synesthesia.
Yeah. Synesthesia, if I'm saying it right. Synesthesia. And you might say, well, what is synesthesia? Well, synesthesia is when your brain routes sensory information through multiple unrelated senses. Wow. Causing you to experience more than one sense simultaneously. See what I'm getting at? Some examples include tasting words or linking colors to numbers and letters. Or a person might see colors when they hear sounds. Wow! That sounds like me, by the way. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a friend who laughs at me. He said I make him laugh when I just listen now. I'm gonna have certain words that I can't say. Well, in my mind, I told him this. I said if I can't visualize the word, I can't say it. I can only say words that I can visualize. So while I'm talking to you now, all these words are visions in my head. And I'm not left-handed. I'm ambidextrous. So the other one is people who are ambidextrous have post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Oh boy, please. They claim they did a study on this. And I don't know how you could do a study when there's only 1% of the population is ambidextrous. But they're supposed to have post-traumatic stress disorder, learning disabilities, and I already went through this, synesthesia. Well, all I know is I am what I am, and I just find it very interesting how in this country, I should say in the world back in the 50s, and I do remember this, even though Mom went on crazy about it, but I do remember that if you went to school, they would not let you use your left hand to teach you how to write. You had to write with your right hand. And I think my mother, I'm not sure if my mother taught me how to write, only because she was left-handed. I think and my dad was left-handed. Now I forgot who was teaching me who make practicing me. I don't think nobody helped me practice my writing when I was coming up. You know how they get the book, you send you home with a book to practice your A's, your B's, and I think I did it on my own. My mother did help me one time, but she was doing it left-handed, and I kept saying, "No, the teacher said you have to do it with your right hand." So anyway, but I would just wanted to talk about that. I thought it was very interesting how he went on a rant about what they did in the South, and I had to correct him. They did it in the North too. They did it in the 50s. I don't know what they do now. I'm not in school in the 50s. I haven't heard anybody make you, I don't know, do they still make you write with your right hand instead of your left hand? But I will leave you with this. I do consider myself ambidextrous. But you might not like what I might have to say, but it's the truth. You know those days when you get horny and you might want to use your right hand because you always use your right hand? But your right hand always give you what they call, what's that terminology? Pre something, pre-ejaculation or whatever. And if you want to last a long time while you're doing it, because you don't do it that often, so you want to make it last, I use my left hand. Take forever to do that with my left hand. My name is Eric, and thank you for listening to the craziness that lives inside my head.
We conquered, I won't forget the taste. Oh no, I'll never say never again. I'll never say never, I'll never say